In the age of social distancing, spending hours stuck in an aircraft seems like a tough sell, but Qantas and some state governments reckon it's not only safe, but it's time for us all to get back in the air.
Pleased to say that from 1 June there'll be no travel restrictions in New South Wales, but please also know that the holiday you'll be taking from 1 June in the COVID-safe environment will be different from a holiday you've taken before.
And Qantas and its offshoot Jetstar are gearing up to get you to those glorious South Coast beaches. But your flight will be a little different.
We're providing masks and sanitising wipes and hand sanitisers to all customers. Masks will not be mandatory from a safety point of view, but they will be recommended to be worn.
Yep, face masks are optional, even though at airports around the globe they're mandatory.
When passengers do get on the plane, I would be suggesting that they do wear a mask, mainly to protect other passengers, and that they turn on their COVID-19 Safe app.
Qantas says it's rolling out new measures to keep us safe. The Fly Well program includes contactless check-in, staggered boarding, enhanced cleaning and aircrafts fitted with hospital-grade HEPA filters, which remove 99.9% of particles, including some viruses. And cabin air will be refreshed every 5 minutes.
We know with the setup of the aircraft, everybody's facing in the same direction. There's a seat in front of you that acts as a barrier, and then the airflow comes from the top down to the bottom.
But even with all these added precautions, don't expect social distancing.
If you were to take the middle seat out in an aircraft, that really isn't social distancing. It's only 60 centimetres between the passengers.
We can't have a situation where Qantas simply comes out and announces a policy that goes against all of the advice of the medical experts that say we must maintain social distancing in the current circumstances.
At the moment, it's probably relatively safe to fly. We have very little community spread. As we come into winter, we are going to rely on our fellow passengers to make sure that they don't fly when they've got a cough or a cold.
A lot of people are itching to take a winter break, and with Virgin already in dire straits, Australia can't afford another airline grounded. So will the new Qantas safety measures convince you to get on board?
We're joined now by the king of the sky, Steve Price. Steve, imagine yourself in the back of the plane for a moment. Are you ready? Would you be ready to get on a flight?
Look, the advice on the surface, doesn't it, seems contradictory. You can't have 10 people or more than 10 people sitting outside at a cafe, and yet you can load up a 737 or a 767 and use every seat. Now, we did a story on Virgin a couple of weeks ago. They're blocking out the middle seat. We'll see where they go if they're still in the air. But Qantas says they've got the advice from the Deputy Chief Medical Officer, Paul Kelly, that you can actually do this, that it is safe to fly. Now, if we're going to take the medical advice, we've got to take it in whole. And so, yes, I'd be happy to get on the plane. And look, I've flown twice a week for the last 10 years, all of it in economy. And I would not have a problem getting on a plane, but I wouldn't wear a mask.
Well, this is the thing, because Qantas are saying that masks are optional and for other airlines it is mandatory. Surely everybody should, unless they've got a specific reason why they can't medically or whatever, should have to wear a flight if we're going to be sitting that close, mask if we're going to be sitting that close.
Well, Rachel, that would mean everyone on public transport should have to wear a mask as well. I mean, is the public, the travelling public, whether on an aircraft or on a train, going to wear the fact they'll be ordered to wear a mask? Now, I haven't worn a mask throughout this whole pandemic. I don't know if anyone else on the panel has.
That close to people, this is the issue. It's about wearing the mask because you're going to be closer than 1.5 metres apart.
Look, I guess on a domestic flight that might last an hour and a half or 2 hours, Melbourne, Brisbane, not that you can fly to Queensland because the border's still shut, but on a flight of under 2 hours, I probably don't have a problem with a mask. But look, if you're flying to Perth...
What if someone sneezes on you in the seat next to you?
Well, you shouldn't sneeze on anybody anyway. That's just damn rude.
It's not a world of shoulds,
sneeze into your elbow,
yeah, well,
for
that's
goodness
ideal.
sake.
Yeah.
But how do you drink a Bloody Mary through a mask? I mean, seriously, it just doesn't work.
Well, they're saying there could be changes across the globe now with meals even and drinks that you get, you know, your snacks and your...
Pricey, what if there was a mask where you could still drink your Bloody Marys? I think this could be your answer.
A little hole for the straw, Pete, perhaps.
Well, look at this. I got what's saying for you.
That might work. Yes?
Oh.
This is an Israeli inventor has come up with this. It's got your little pump there.
Oh, please.
And then, you have your meal.
I've just decided that if that bloke's on the plane, I'm not getting on it.
Yeah, I might say, looking at it, I think the virus has already won by looking at that guy. To be honest, but Bryce, what about the idea that like the middle seats? I do find a bit confusing.
Yeah.
But if families agreed all to sit together because they're living together.
Yes.
That will help fill up a lot of the planes.
I mean, it'd be nice to have a bit of distance between me and the kids.
But I think Alan Joyce made the point yesterday that if you block out that middle seat in an ongoing fashion, the business model just doesn't work. I mean, if it
and then flights are more expensive.
Yeah,
for
if it came
families
down to paying $150 to fly from Sydney to Melbourne as opposed to $550 with a seat blocked out, I'd rather have someone next to me sitting there with a mask on than pay the extra amount of money.
I get that economic argument, or that business argument, I should say, but aren't we in a moment where that has to come secondary? And if it means we have to pay more for flights, then that's...
But if the health advice is that with the new filters and everything, that it's perfectly 99.9% safe,
then the health advice is the health advice. But I find it curious that Qantas is the only airline that seems to be doing this, right?
And it's also going to set some incredible precedents. I mean, there's a whole lot of other places where there are crowds of people who are now going to go, well, hang on, the airline can do it, why can't we do it? I mean, I think of things like if the ski season ever gets up and running, sitting on a four-person chairlift, you're going to be right next to someone,
or at the footy or something, being able to sit next to...
Oh, imagine if they installed humidifiers at the MCG and air filters. That would be...
Maybe they need to play footy on planes.
Yes.
I think Collingwood supporters ought to be forced to wear masks permanently anyway to hide their bad teeth.
Let's wrap this interview up.
Steve's attitude on masks seems very contradictory tonight, doesn't it?
He does. The person next to him apparently is wearing one, but he's not wearing one.
No,
Collingwood supporter is wearing one.
Pricey, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Very good. Cheers.